Imagine a world where global superpowers are at odds and the fate of nations hangs in the balance. This is the harsh reality we're facing today, as President Donald Trump vows to impose major sanctions on Russia. But only if NATO nations join forces and do the same. But here's the catch. These sanctions will only be triggered when all NATO countries cease their purchases of oil from Moscow. This bold move has sparked intense debate, and for good reason. On one hand, it's a clear demonstration of Trump's commitment to taking a strong stance against Russia's invasion of Ukraine. On the other hand, it raises questions about the effectiveness of such sanctions and the potential consequences for the global economy. As Trump himself wrote in a recent Truth Social post, China has a strong control and even grip over Russia, and these powerful tariffs will break that grip. But will they? And this is the part most people miss. The intricate web of relationships between nations and the delicate balance of power that can make or break global stability. Trump has long been threatening to impose sanctions on Russia, but so far, he's held back. Analysts suggest that this reluctance may be due in part to his hopes of brokering a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. But as the conflict rages on, the pressure is mounting, and Trump is shifting his focus to NATO nations, urging them to impose tariffs on China and cut off their purchases of Russian oil. As Chris Weafer, the chief executive of Moscow-based Macro Advisory, pointed out, if Russia is defeated, then it has no choice but to go even further all in with China, and that potentially then would strengthen China's position. This is a crucial point, and one that highlights the complexity of the issue. By imposing sanctions on Russia and tariffs on China, are we inadvertently strengthening China's position in the long run? It's a question that warrants careful consideration, and one that we'll be exploring in more depth. But for now, let's take a closer look at the situation on the ground. Hungary and Slovakia have continued to buy Russian fossil fuels, drawing criticism from Trump officials. As U.S. Secretary of Energy Chris Wright said, "We want to displace all Russian gas. President Trump, America, and all the nations of the EU. We want to end the Russian-Ukraine war." It's a noble goal, but one that requires a unified effort from all NATO nations. And this is where it gets controversial. Should NATO nations be imposing tariffs on China and cutting off their purchases of Russian oil? Is this a viable solution, or are we simply trading one problem for another? These are the questions that need to be answered, and we want to hear from you. Do you think Trump's plan is a step in the right direction or a recipe for disaster? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going.